Hello, and thank you so much for joining me, those who could join me today in this Facebook Live, looking at changing your name when you get married. Thanks for joining me. I'm Kineta Booker, and I am a marriage celebrant here in Christchurch and North Canterbury. So, what's in a name? Well, we're all given one when we're born. We can change one by deed poll by the time we're 18, and we can also get a brand new surname when we get married, if you choose to. That's what I'm going to focus on today, if you choose to, if you would like to change your surname. So, first of all, let's get you married. Congratulations, you're getting married. That's very exciting. Okay, so let's look at the paperwork that we need to do to get you married. So your marriage celebrant will no doubt send you through a link that will send you to the Department of Internal Affairs website, the marriage's website, that you'll be able to get your marriage license from. So these are, so I'm going to tell you about the different forms that you'll be working with. Okay, so the marriage license gives the celebrant authority to marry you. And so on your wedding day, it'll be the marriage license, and then you will fill out the copy of particulars. So two copies of the copy of particulars. So you get the marriage license. Again, this gives the celebrant the authority to marry you, the two people who it says is on the marriage license, and on the copy of particulars, they'll be able to marry you. So the marriage certificate is something quite different, and that comes after the wedding. Okay, so the marriage license, so that's got all your details on it, it's got the celebrant's details on it, it's got where you're going to get married, it's got a usually it has a wet weather backup option on it as well. So that's the marriage license. Copy of particulars is what you sign during the ceremony, and you will be signing in your maiden name. So if you are a female, or if you are going to be changing your name if you are a male, or changing it to a different name even if you're a female, sign in the name that's on the copy of particulars. So that is your maiden name. So one of those copy of particulars after the ceremony is given to you, so you have a copy for yourself, and the other copy of particulars your celebrant will take, and this is what they lodge your marriage with DIA, Department of Internal Affairs, birth certificates, marriages. So when you order your marriage license online, you can also actually organise a marriage certificate at the same time. And this cuts down on a little bit of that, how do I get my license, my certificate, so by ordering your marriage license and your certificate at the same time is very easy. I think marriage certificates are about $33 extra. So if you do have an extra $33, go for it and get your certificate, but only if you're going to be changing your name, because that's, for now, that's the reason why most people will get their marriage certificate. So once you're married, your celebrant will lodge your marriage, and within 10 working days, you will receive that certificate in the mail. So when can you start using your new name? So you can use it, well, within the ceremony, really, that's when you're married. So it's the intention, it's the I will, it's the I do, that's when you agree to marry that person. So signing the copy of particulars, that's sealing the deal, and so you can change your Facebook name, you can change your Instagram name, you can change your name on your emails, because you are now that new name if you choose to take that new name. So things like passports and banks, they will need to see your certificate, or driver's license. So they'll need to see your certificate and the copy of particulars perhaps. I mean, when I changed my name, I just took everything in because I just wanted to take everything in and make sure I had everything there. So, but you don't need to change your surname. If you do not want to take your partner's name, then you don't have to. So, so say for example you do take your partner's name, and a couple of years down the track you're like, I actually really want to go back to my maiden name. You can. I mean, you are always that name. So when you marry somebody, you acquire their surname. your name, your legal name, your birth name, or the name you changed by deed poll, that doesn't actually change at all. So if, say for example, I'm Kineta Knight, that's my maiden name, and my married name is Booker, so I went for a while with Kineta Knight Booker, so Knight was my middle name. But if I ever wanted to, so I go by Kineta Booker now, but if I ever wanted to go back to Knight, just if I wanted to, I would just use it, because that is still my name. So you acquire your partner's name. So, and this is going to be a very, very quick live, because I know that I rambled during the vow writing. So I'm going to get just through these points very quickly. So if you would like to change your name, then there are a few variations. So there are 4 variations really. So you've got your 2 last names. So your name, your partner's last name. So you can be, so let's take for example the surnames Brown and White, okay? So you're Brown and your partner's White, so maybe you could go with White, maybe you could go with Brown, maybe you could go with White Brown, maybe you could go with Brown White, you know, as a hyphenated name. Or as a couple of my couples have done, they've merged their names together. So if we're looking at White and Brown, then you could be Bright, like B-R-I-T-E, or Wown, W-H-O-W-N. But I should point out that you have to do that by deed poll. So you can't just sort of say, oh, when you get married, that's our new name. Legally, if you want to change that surname to something completely different in a name that you have made up, you do need to do that through the legal procedure. So that's it. Does anybody have any questions? If you do, just send me a Facebook message, or you can flick me a DM on Instagram if you want to know more about changing your name. So again, just get that marriage license to get married. The copy of particulars is what you fill out during the ceremony. You can start referring to yourself as Mr. and Mr., Mrs. and Mrs., Mr. and Mrs., whoever, as soon as you're married, because that's why at the end of the ceremony your celebrant will say, introducing for the very first time Mr. and Mr. or Mr. and Mrs. whatever it is, and the surname that you have chosen. Some people stay with their maiden name, so I could have stayed with Knight if I wanted to, but so at the end of the ceremony the celebrant might just say introducing for the very first time, or whatever it is, the newest married couple, or Mr. and Mrs. or whatever it is. So don't ever feel pressured to change your surname. Just remember that the name that you have now, your maiden name, is always going to be your name. You acquire or you gain another name if you'd like to when you get married. And so the marriage certificate is what will come back in the post. And actually one point on that is you will notice that your names haven't actually changed, because they don't assume. So Department of Internal Affairs don't actually assume that you have changed your name. So it will just come back with the names, your first, middle and last name, if you have a middle name, of both of you, that was on your copy of particulars, and they say these 2 people married on this date. So yeah, your marriage certificate won't be any different to the names that were on your marriage license and your copy of particulars. If you've got any questions, just flick me a message. You can find out more about this, because I have written a blog on my website, kinetabooker.com, or you can reach out to me on the socials at Kineta Booker Weddings. Thank you so much for joining me today. I promised you this was going to be a quick live, and it has been. Thanks for having me.